Good day, everybody. Tracy Brown here, your somatic nutrition therapist and attuned eating specialist. And I'm just now getting some coffee going. So all the early morning daily stuff has been done. So forgive me to get a little bit of that going. And so I'm here to talk this week around, I know that at least a lot of you in the let me try to think about how to word this. At least in the United States, we are creeping up on the holiday time. So Thanksgiving, Christmas, all those kind of things. If you're watching this and it's not those times of year for you, if you're watching this in July and those U.S. holidays aren't a thing for you, I think this applies. You know, I try to make a lot of these videos very, what's the word? Very classic, so that we can use them for all kinds of circumstances. So this is what this video is going to be about today. Oh, hello, thank you so much. I appreciate you letting me know where you're from, and I hope this helps you and whomever you're working with as well. So this video is going to be about when we're around. You're doing your work. You have decided that you are going to work on recovery from chronic dieting, from disordered eating. And your eyes are, maybe you kind of knew this, but now it's obvious because you're working away from purposely engaging in any of these activities that revolve around purposely trying to change your body. Now, we're going to have days that's a lot harder than others, but in general, that's your intent. And you're noticing, again, you could be watching this and you could be a person that's like, I've been working on recovery for many years. I get it. And I think it does get easier. So I just want to let you know that for somebody who's been there, and for many clients I work with who have been in recovery a while, is that we know we live in a world where it's normal to diet, and it's not seen as a bad thing. It's not seen as detrimental to your health. In fact, people think they have to lose weight or avoid certain foods to be healthier. And so we're not talking about medical nutrition therapy today at all. We are talking about this, obviously, it's almost like it's been said for so long, for so many generations, that people just believe it's true, that purposeful weight loss has no consequences. And you all listening to this know that, like, you've tried really, really hard to manage your food. Whether it's resulted in lower weight or not, a lot of misery has come with that and not better health. So what do we do when we're in it? We are on the path, and it's like, I live with a dieter. I live with somebody who still is either totally drinking the diet Kool-Aid, and they don't take it that seriously, but once a year they do some kind of thing to lose a few pounds or 10 pounds or kilos or whatever, and there's tension, or there is even arguments, or just like definitely at least misunderstanding. And so what do you do with that? I'm not a person, I'm not a good person. This is the thing now, this is kind of an advice video, but I'm being tenuous about that because, of course, I don't love to give advice to people totally that I don't know, and definitely not unsolicited. But I know that people are going to know, what do I do with that? How do I approach it? And since I can only say it honestly from my own maybe ethics and my own space, so what I would say is I don't do snark, and I don't do well, this is the way I'm going to do it, so screw you, essentially. That's not my style. So I won't have this video won't be from that place. I'm not saying that if that's the approach you need to use to have boundaries, okay. But I kind of like to think of boundaries around just expressing what your needs are, and even explain, like, hey, I know in the past that I was restricting my food, my carbs, getting sweets out of the house, weighing myself. I was doing all that, and I get it, and I've just come to recognize it doesn't work for me, and I'm trying something really different to actually make peace. And so I think right there is a good enough explanation. And so you're probably going to have to continue to remind people, and I tell my clients that really they're going to become a broken record of, yeah, I know, I used to like worry about that, and I'm not, or I have to have these foods in the house, otherwise they will feel out of control to me if I don't ever have them. I think the sticky thing that comes up is if you're having, maybe you've all decided not to talk about food, which I think is really a good idea. Not talk about food or weight. If you need to gently correct, like, hey, I don't really want to talk about that, or if you have to change the subject around, any kind of like body talk of some kind, definitely do it. So you'll feel like, gosh, I've said the same thing like 10 times. You might need to say it 100 times, 200 times, 500 times, just to kind of not only be consistent, but also it's good for you. It's really, really good for you to be able to like, speak that truth and practice that as much as possible. The other point I would make is, I know sometimes it's difficult for you, let's say you're having a big variety of food in your house, and somebody in your house isn't. Like, they get upset with you for having cookies around more, or certain kinds of foods around more. And I think a conversation about that needs to happen, where you need to have those foods around, and how can you help them where it can be in a way where it's not as big an issue for them. Essentially, like, okay, I need to have these foods around, and I understand that you don't want to eat those foods. I get it. Is there anything I can do? I would just like ask, and if they say no and they have to work on their own issues around that, that's fine. Around, I hate to use the word, I don't like the word self-control, because it's not. They're gonna probably struggle with having those foods that they're trying to keep away, but you might need to have your own space for them, whatever, and hopefully that works. I mean, there's sometimes this becomes less an issue, or it's not a big issue. Sometimes I know it's a huge issue, and all those circumstances are different. But what I would say is that it's not really fair for you, for someone else's diet to be kind of dominating the food environment, and they're going to have to work around people being flexible with their food. To be honest, that's part. I mean, I think for me personally, I believe that, like, if you're on a diet, you're going to understand that not everybody else wants to do that, and so not everybody else is responsible for your restrictions. That's just the way it is. I get it, if it's a medical nutrition circumstance, it's different, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about somebody who's purposely not so happy with you for having a variety of food around that you need to be having, and so that boundary will have to be made there. I guess I'll leave this last little bit, is what I would say is, if there continues to be conflict around that, y'all might need to do a session with somebody to help them understand more what you're trying to do, and for them to have their questions answered. If you're having a hard time communicating what 9 Diet is about, what is the purpose of it, that it's not really about a free-for-all, it's really about like making peace and habituating and just taking all the rules and the specialness and the glamour about any certain food, and that you're accepting that, and that you're accepting that you're not trying to purposely manipulate your body anymore, and trying to be okay with yourself. And it's really, would it be, I mean, if you think about it, it's really hard for someone else. They might argue with it, but to rationally say, well, I don't want you to be okay with yourself. People aren't going to say that. And if that's the missing link, then I suggest, if you're struggling with this and that's the missing link, to like, I just want to learn to be good with myself. And so I'm going to read a comment. Thank you for a comment. I'm going to read that real quick. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah, Renee, if that's the best way for you to keep them around consistently, that's awesome. Okay. I would say, if you want to, do you feel like that if you left them out and they were eaten by not only you but everybody else, do you feel like that you couldn't go get more? Or do you feel like you would eat more than just a couple? Or tell me more about the freezer part. That's not a problem. It doesn't inherently have to be a problem. If it's about like keep them for yourself, I get it, especially if nobody else wants to eat them and you like them the best that way. But I always recommend still having a full supply that's replenished, you know, every day or so if it needs to be. So I don't know if that adds any bit of nuance to your comment, but I'd love to hear more if you want to. So I think that's it. And I also want to add, so that's not it. Add one more thing, is that I know that it's going to be really almost impossible to escape diet culture stuff. Okay, cool. Okay. I love that you order special ones. That's really great. So this like they're special to you, and if they were out and about, the supply would go down sooner. So I would just make sure there's a big variety of food that everybody loves, as much as you can with your resources, to have that as much as possible. So yeah, you don't have to feel like that you've got to hide your stuff. But if you need to, I get it. But it sounds like you're doing good. All right, so I want to just mention that, like, it's going to be impossible to escape some diet culture stuff. That's the predominant way that most people believe and they think. And I wish it would be true in our generation that we could get rid of that, but I'm not sure that's going to happen. So what I say is that, like, I want you all to, I mean, this is hard to do, but accept it. Like, I don't get riled up when there's somebody I know that's dieting. That's their business, to be perfectly honest. But we have to have our boundaries about us in terms of, like, I don't have to listen to it. I don't have to believe in it for sure. And the more grounded you are in yourself, the more you recognize, I've been there, done that. And there's nothing special about that. I'm not really missing out. I can talk about other things besides that. And so I know you're going to bump up against this, even in the most inconvenient, awful places, like going to the doctor. I know people are going to make weight prejudice comments on both ends of the spectrum. Like, they're going to tell you look really good if you lost 5 pounds, and I'm saying, like, oh my gosh, no, this person's really struggling. You know, you have to know, and you have to be able to stay firm in trusting what's healthy, because I know when you're vulnerable, any little weight comment could be enough to send you back into being weight focused or weight in a manipulative weight drive. I've got to fix this, and there's nothing you need to fix. We are learning how not to be reactive to what's around us. And that's really the work. It's not like what everybody else is doing and saying. Our work is to be grounded and have capacity and resilience to be in the midst of things that aren't maybe easy or ideal, and not use dieting as a way to, like, make ourselves feel better back into, like, this okay zone. It's not going to work. We know it's not going to work long term. So I hope this video was helpful. I know that in the next couple months, this time of year, the focus is, there's a lot of worry. There's a lot of worry. I don't like to use energy, but there's a lot of worry energy, like food and weight and all that kind of good stuff, because there's going to be a bigger abundance of food and a bigger variety of food around, and people are going to worry about things. But a very common thing I say is, let's stay in our lane. Stay in our lane, know your objectives, your intent, what you want your life to look like, really, really daily. Stay focused on what your mission is and your intent is, and how you're doing that, your tools with your own freedom. So I'm going to sign off with that part of the video here. What I want to say is, one last thing is, if you didn't see my video last Friday, I talked a lot about the messiness of things. Yeah, I don't want you, our job, really, it's not like getting into, we have all these ideas, like we're trying to get all these strategies right. It's not that really about that. It's about, we don't have to be reacted to other people's stuff. That's what we're really working on. I want to be free, and I also know that, like, I know in my own past, when I would get reactive about other people's dieting or fitness routines or what they were doing with their food, I know that I probably still had some pride I needed to work on around, or specialness about, like, being part of that too. I need to work on maybe my grief, or be with my, not even work on grief, but just be with those feelings. That's our work. It's really not about what everybody else is doing. We can use, if we have a reaction to what other people are doing, as a way to help ourselves, like, oh, that's still an edge for me. I need to ground myself. I need to use my tools then to recommit to what I need to do, or meet some needs that maybe I'm not getting met in terms of a connection or slowing down or having fun or whatever it is. That's just the food stuff, and the reaction is just the doorway in. So I hope that's helpful. And that's a good segue. Last week's video I talked a lot about, a little bit about my kind of like my group, my membership thing. It's kind of turned into this hybrid of like lots of videos and teaching and then coming together to talk about it all. But we're doing the season, our first live group around all the attuned eating for attuned living, like videos and somatic work and body image work. Our first meeting about that this season is on Wednesday afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern. So if you're interested, I'm going to put the link below if you want to hurry up and get in before that meeting, because I only do one meeting a month. You still have a whole month's worth of content, of course, to be working through. There's a Facebook group to ask questions in, so you're not alone with this. But our live session is next week, or is actually this week, 2 days. So if you're interested, I'm going to put that below. I'm really excited about getting that going for the season. And I also want to announce I'm going to be offering, I do a free like attuned eating for attuned living holiday class. Well, it hasn't been free in the past. And this year, I'm celebrating two things. I'm turning 40 in a couple weeks, and it's been 22 years since I started this journey on my own, and I'm just in celebration mode. So I'm giving away that class for free. It's just still in the process of getting all made nice and shiny and easy to access and all that good stuff. So I'm just going to be on a Teachable platform. That way you have your own password, you can go it. You know, but let me see here. I think that's it. So there's some good stuff coming up the pike. You know, there's a good thing this week doing, and then I know I'm going to run some fun little deals and specials the last week of November as well. So there's going to be a lot of fun stuff this month for you all to get your needs met in terms of navigating the holidays. The holiday class is really cool because essentially it's literally like, okay, you excuse me. 1 second. Oh my gosh, sorry about that, guys. Got so dry. Whew. Anyway, maybe it's a good time to sign off. But anyway, the holiday course is going to be essentially like you sitting in a class for an hour, watching or listening to the audio, and taking notes on how to prepare for Thanksgiving, how to prepare for any kind of holiday meals or get-togethers, and planning it to be the most grounded and, getting your needs met as possible. Excuse me. So, for anybody who joined late, thank you so much for watching. I just choked. That's why my eyes are all watery. I'm fine. And we're having a lot of discussion today around when you're around a lot of dieters and some tools you can try. So anyway, I will sign up because I'm losing my voice, which is a total bummer. But anyway, be following the page a lot this month because there's a lot of stuff I'm going to be announcing. If you're not on my, my blog and my newsletter list, please get on that. That way you can get the updates quickly. I'm going to be sending 1 to 2 emails a week this month. That way you guys don't miss any announcements. And they'll be here too as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have anything you want to talk about this month, please send me an email, private message me. That way we can cover it in these videos. And until next time, I hope you have a really great day. Wherever you are, I hope the weather's nice because it's starting to finally feel kind of cooler here where I am, and I'm so grateful. If you're already over coolness, then I'm sorry. Hang in there. But anyway, hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you all soon. Take care. Bye.